So today I thought we had to talk about FPX's upset over Gambit yesterday, and there was a lot of different things we could have taken from that series. You know, the Fracture map was chaotic, the Bind map had some cool things going on as well, but I wanted to talk about Icebox, and I promise not to do another video about this, at least until the map changes again, but I had to talk about this because it was driving me absolutely crazy. So, let's first of all talk about the team comps. As ever, we have the standard team comp outside of a chamber for a jet on FPX, and both teams are running KO as the fifth option, and I expect more KOs to come in because I think it is pretty good, and I think it's a pretty solid option, and I think more teams will adopt it as we go forward. But anyway, score is 2-1 to FPX. This, just to put it into context, by the way, this game is going to go to overtime, and so whenever a game goes to overtime, of course, one round could have made the difference, right? But Gambit are going to do something on their attack that I just really dislike. really dislike. And they're going to do it for 4 rounds. And they're not going to win any of those rounds. And those are the rounds we're going to look at. So anyway, scores 2-1. FPX won the pistol. They won the next round. Gambit won the bonus round for FPX. Very standard stuff. So we're on the first full gun round for both teams. Gambit are going to take a timeout before that. And for these next 3 rounds, they're going to do a similar thing. And we're going to take a look at what that similar thing is and how it went for them. Spoiler alert, not great. So let's take a look at the start of round number 4. Well, as you can see, we have a heavy presence in mid from Gambit to start off, and just the Sova on A here as well. And for this first round, this is actually going to be a bit of a fake, but they're going to use this as kind of almost like a default of showing the same thing over and over and over again, as a kind of normal thing that they were doing. And well, here we go. So it involves, first of all, Defo. He did this a couple times where he dashes on top of the tube here, and well, it doesn't go well for him because Angel, as you can see, is shock darting him up, and he's down to 62 HP straight away, so he has to kind of fall back down and wait for the second shock dart, but eventually he ends up going back up. Now, I think the reason that he's trying to do this is to try and basically create a bit of a distraction for the players who are going up tube, which is going to be the KO and the Sage. The only problem that they have is, of course, is they are running into a chamber, and any chamber pretty much is always going to put a trap in kitchen. So it's not maybe the best plan anyway, because they're going to know once they get into kitchen. But anyway, maybe they didn't know they'd be running up against a chamber. Either way, here we go. So Defo, as you can see, now that he's kind of made his distraction, retreats, and we have the KO and the Sage coming up into kitchen. They destroy the trap, so now obviously FPX kind of know that someone is going to be here. They also get suppressed by the opposition KO, but Nats is able to get this wall down. Bit of a weird wall, right? Like, so obviously the idea is, of course, potentially you get to, push in through the rest of kitchen and get over towards the site. But actually they aren't going to do that this time. This time instead, as we're about to see, they're just going to, walk back. They're just going to kind of use that as a bit of a fake. Now, if we watch the map as they're doing that, we're going to see that, like, the Sage starts peeking around here. The KO starts destroying the wall. I think that they kind of had an idea maybe they've gone back, but still, it's not going to quite go their way. And if we just rewind to see what just happened on over towards A, because whilst this was going on and all this distraction was being caused, what they were able to do is get the Sova into this position, Redgar here, who's able to get a kill. And obviously they were pretty surprised by that. So now, as you can see, the map looks like this, where, basically they're going towards A, they're running it in towards this A site, and they feel pretty confident that, now they can take this A site, and they will do that. So now we've run it forward to the point where they have, got control of the site, and they are now planting the spike. But as you can see, Nats is planting in this position, which is right by the box. You can probably see it better if I come to the normal view here. You can see that he's planting by the normal box. And if you know anything about this map, that is not a great plant location, because generally what happens on Icebox is once you get this plant, people kind of retreat back to all these positions in A main, at different angles, at different levels, and then just play off the spike from there, right? This is kind of the general of what happens. But Nats is going to plant in this spot here, which means that most of the rest of the Gambit team kind of have to stay close and try and fight it out. And, well, if we run this through, we're going to see how that ends up going for them. So first off, Zipan gets this really nice kill onto Redgar there. And as we watch this retake and what FPX are going to do on this retake, they're just going to end up, kind of forcing these fights and forcing Gambit into these pretty bad positions. I mean, straight away, you can see Defo is here, right? But he's not going to stay there. And I think the reason he's not going to stay there is because he knows he can't see the spike. And so it kind of just causes a lot of awkwardness for him. And also, if we come back to the normal mode here, I want you to keep an eye on Nats here, because he's going to end up getting slowed and Viper mollied in this position, and it's not going to go great for him either. So let's just watch. I mean, here's the slow, right? They also get the suppress. Then the molly comes down, just before we get there, and yeah, they're going to end up spamming that box. Which is going to get the kill on Nats eventually there from Zipan. Shados, I think, just peeked past the wall. Obviously, this wall, a retake wall, very, very good from FPX as well, right? Like, cuts them all off, just makes it even harder for anyone on Gambit. Like, now they literally, like have to fight. They can't even see the spike anyway in normal positions, but now they have to even run through this Viper wall as well. So it's all going terribly for Gambit in this scenario, and even, FPX get another wall up. Defo tries to make a move, but here's Chronicle, and this is the problem, right? He's even if there wasn't a wall there, he still couldn't have got him because of where the spike is planted. But they had to plant the spike there because, of course, they had used the wall already. They'd used the wall there, so they didn't have it for, planting the spike, and obviously that meant that they had to plant at default, which isn't great. And ultimately, it wasn't great, and FPX ended up winning the round. But then let's come to the very next round, and we're about 50 or so seconds in, so there's about 50 seconds left. Gambit have shown, a bit of presence on A. They've kind of held their positions a bit, and they're starting to make this creep towards mid. Now, eventually, what is going to happen is that these players, and I think the Viper as well, are going to end up going back towards B, and our friends, the KO and the Sage, are again going to make their way up tube and do a similar thing that they did in the very last round. So let's see how it goes for them this time, shall we? So we'll follow it through again. As you can see, here goes the KO and the Sage, and this isn't a full save round. They have 3 guns, they have a couple sheriffs, so they're probably still expecting that, hey, we can win this round, particularly with the Sage and the KO, who both have guns. That this could be a good chance. So they flash in, they destroy the chamber, trip, but Angel is here, right? And so he takes a couple shots, but no one dies. He gets KO naded off it, and then eventually what's going to happen here is we're going to see the same Sage wall there, which is obviously going to cut Angel off. So let's see how they use the Sage wall this time, which stays good for them, and it allows Shados to get into this position. So this time they actually do run away with the wall, and as you can see, these players are coming towards B, and they're gonna try and get that spike down on B. And again, a bit of chaos is being created, but the problem is Nats has come drop down from the window. Shados has gone across. But the problem is, well, let's just see what happens as we run this round forward, because you're going to see a crucial problem with this, and it's this. Nats runs into Xiao. The problem here is that Xiao could be in a million different positions. He could be, he could be under here, he could be where he was, he could be up high here, he could be down low here, he could be down low here. There's just so much. He could have been close, right? He could have been in any of these corners as well that Nats is having to clear. He could be in just a million different positions. But Xiao has a pretty good idea of where Nats is, because Nats is either going to come this way or he's going to go that way. And by being in this corner, he can just watch this and kind of, think about the timing, and then eventually figure out that he's either going to be here or where he was and getting that kill. So Nats basically is in just a massive disadvantage here, because Xiao pretty much knows where he's going to be and is in a safe spot to do that, whereas Nats has to check all of these different angles and all these different locations and has to worry about everything that could potentially go wrong, which is just another reason why, this doesn't go great. But as we continue to run this forward, we're going to see what's going to happen, because Shados is going to, miss that shot there on Angel, and now all of a sudden, they don't have anything, and then this is going to happen. And this is something that you very rarely see. You don't normally see someone spam into this location and get a kill on the spike planter. Do you know why that is? Because most teams use the wall. Most teams put a barrier up here so that you can't do that. But again, guess what? Gambit had used their wall up here. And what had that got them? 2 deaths. That's pretty much what it got them. So it didn't really work again for the second time, and they're not going to be able to get the spike down this time, and they're going to lose this round as well. But then third time's the charm, right? Because they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to send it up this B split, and they're going to go faster this time. Now, to be fair, this one is a save. So, this one they don't have guns. They do have the Bladestorm, but other than that, they don't have too much invested. Sheriffs, 1 Spectre. So it's not that much. So let's see how it goes for them, shall we? So Defo comes up here. Again, the dash up, the get on top. He smokes a couple things off and then tries to go for kill. Okay, he dies. But they are going to get this trade. So, not all is bad. It's a 1-for-1. Here we go. You know, they've killed one of the B players. Let's see how this goes. Well, as we continue to run it forward, we're going to see how this goes. Because Xiao is going to do this. He's going to get 1. He's going to get 2. And obviously, yes, he does have a gun advantage. And then by the time that that's happened, Zipan is also able to get a kill from here. And this, again, just also shows really another problem, similar to the last round and what happened, as Redgar now is left on his Todd against 3 players and in a 1v4 overall. The problem is, again, that as these players come under here, again, he could be here, he could be here, could be here, could be here. So that's 4 different things you have to check. He could be around here. You know, no one went that way, so they don't know. Like, you know, he could be in kitchen about to drop down on them. You know, potentially someone could have come up here and come behind them as well. Like, and then eventually they get a kill from this window as well. It's like, you're going to check all of that? No. Right? There's so many different things that you have to check as the attackers. And again, Xiao is in a very safe position. If we take a look at where Xiao is, you know, this is such a good safe position because it catches all of this, but he's not really under any threat from anywhere else. And he knows that they can't come up tube because they still have that chamber trap there. So he knows that no one is there either, you know, because that would be the danger, right? If someone did come up here, that would be the danger. But the problem is that, you know, if you go all in on these kind of things and all go into a certain direction, or like the Sage and the KO did, just send a couple players there, the couple players will probably die because they have to check too much for just that few players. But if you send a full squad there, there's just better positions for the defenders to be, like Xiao is in here, to where you can be safe from certain angles and know that you're not getting peeked from certain ones and just mow people down like he did here. But then Gambit went away from it. Now we are going to join the round a little bit into it, and we have gone all the way to round 12. So, you know, after those 3 failures in a row, they eventually decided to, you know, let's not do this anymore. Let's not troll anymore, and let's instead try and attack this map properly. And it went pretty well for them. They were able to get 4 rounds on the board. It's 7-4. Last round, they have lost Defo here, but they're going to go back to it. They're going to go back to their old strategy. They're going to send this over towards B. They're going to send these 3 up the tube. And let's see how it goes for them this time. Can't go any worse, right? So let's see how it goes. And in my notes, here, I've just put problems for this round, all of the above. Because basically it's just a combination of everything that went wrong before. They're going to get suppressed, but they are going to run up tube. You know, they're just going to, and they're going to run it up tube this time, as you can see. They're going to destroy the trap. They're going to get this wall up. And then what's going to happen? Well, the Sage starts speaking. He sees, oh, there's 3 there. Slows it down. They get the first kill because there isn't enough pressure from B yet. You know, Redgar isn't far enough up yet, so that Sugestu is still able to, you know, take a peek and take a swing and get the first kill there. Then Zipan is also going to get a kill with his nade because he just, you know, bounced off the wall, came down here, gets a nade in there and gets a kill with that as well because it's such a tight space. There's nowhere to go. Shados dies to that. So now all of a sudden they're in a 5v2. So let's see how it goes from here. Obviously, it's not going to go great, as you can imagine. Chronicle is going to, you know, sneak on top of the wall, but then KO is going to flash him, and Chronicle's going to die as well. And then Redgar is able to get 1, but now he's going to get shot from about 4 different angles, as you can see here. And obviously, in a 1v4, he's not going to be able to convert this round. And he dies, and FPX get 4. And so that was basically how it went. They tried this 4 different times, and it worked 0 times. And I truly believe that this mid to B strategy that I see, whether you wall off, you know, in kitchen like Gambit were doing here, or whether sometimes we also see teams do this, and one of the Gambit rounds they did that as well, where they snuck under. Using these walls, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You're much better off walling for a plant. It's just much better in terms of the post plant in general. Generally, taking sites on Icebox isn't that difficult, you know, compared to the other maps. Like, you can find a lot of success just sending 4 or 5 people to just B main or A main and just taking a site and then using the wall and playing post plants. There's a reason that became kind of the standard for what goes on, because that's just the best way to attack on this map. And I know that teams want to show different things and they want to say like, oh, we could do this, you know, you have to be careful, you have to keep watching this or whatever, but it just doesn't work.